What is up, everyone? Piezilla57 here with another episode of the Project Platinum podcast. And with me this week is McD's Nuts 7295, aka Connor.
Yo, 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 what's up, my diggity dogs?
All right, so this week we're going to talk about some of our favorite game franchises. So I know in a previous episode, Jason and we talked a little bit about games that kind of influenced our taste in games growing up and a couple of our favorite games. But for this episode, we're going to change gears a little bit to game franchises in general. So it doesn't not necessarily like a specific game, but just a franchise of games that we really love and that we've grown to enjoy over the years. So if you guys have listened to some of our other episodes, then usually when we do lists like this, we each have two game franchises we're going to talk about. In previous episodes, we usually go one by one, but we're going to switch things up a little bit this time, and Connor's going to mention his two, and then we'll talk about them, and then after that, I will list my two, and we'll talk about those two. So we'll see if this flows better or worse, and how we like this style better. So, Connor, if you want to go ahead and talk about your two, and see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I mean, my number one is definitely Assassin's Creed. Every game from the first one with Altair up until about Unity and Rogue. I loved every Assassin's Creed. I started playing them as a kid. Just such a smooth game. All the stories were great in every game. It just really formed me into the person I am today.
Is that so?
Yes, I have a scar above my left ass cheek where I thought I was an assassin and jumped off a rock wall and slipped.
The more you know.
Yeah, so Assassin's Creed really left a mark on me.
So, do you have a favorite Assassin's Creed game?
Assassin's Creed 2. I think it's
I feel like a lot of people enjoy that one.
Yeah, it was a lot more free than the original. And the story was great. The characters were just awesome. And they went on to make all three of the Ezio games with Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, which were 2 and Brotherhood were my two favorites. Revelations was alright, but
are there any that you don't enjoy too much?
Assassin's Creed Syndicate is my least favorite Assassin's Creed game that I've played, and the only ones I haven't played are Rogue, Unity, and Odyssey. So
you played the three smaller scale games, was it India, China, and Russia, or something like that?
Assassin's Creed Chronicles, yeah,
those.
China and India. I played I think it was the India episode, and it wasn't like the original Assassin's Creed games or the usual Assassin's Creed games. It was more platformy.
Right, that's what I've heard, and that's why I feel like a lot of people don't like those ones as much, just because of how different they are.
It's very different from the normal Assassin's Creed games. I think it was more Ubisoft came out with them. I feel like that they came out with them just to kill time between games, so it didn't look like they were lacking on the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Right, because at this point they were still trying to release an Assassin's Creed game every year, right?
Yeah, I think Chronicles came out after Assassin's Creed 3. Because I feel like there was a big space in between Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed 4. Unless something came out that I just never knew about. Another great game, I think it was Assassin's Creed Bloodlines on PSP. I don't know if that's the actual name. Comment down below if you have the actual name for that game, PSP. But that game was really good.
Gotcha. So I've never really gotten too much into the Assassin's Creed games. I'm not exactly sure why. Like the whole setting and everything of the games really appeals to me. But I, so I've played a little bit of 1, 2, and Syndicate, and then like 20 minutes of Origins. But for 1, 2, and Syndicate, like I haven't made it very far at all in any of those. And I think it's more of the gameplay that's not too enjoyable to me.
One thing that they did do is they changed a lot of the mechanics in the game for like running and like free running and like wall climbing and stuff. Like I think it was just where you held down R2 and X and you could just free run up the walls and everything. And then they changed it to where you press X to jump, and it's all different now, but the gameplay was always really good. The fighting was really easy in Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2 with the whole parry and the can't think of the word where you they attack you, you dodge it, and you kill them. That just made the fighting in the game 10 times easier and a lot more enjoyable. But a lot of what really got me with Assassin's Creed was the history of it, how they tie in certain things. Like in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, when that game dropped, I was really big in the whole Percy Jackson book stuff. Because yes, I do read, but I just really whole history tie-ins and everything. So that's probably one of the other big factors of Assassin's Creed that just kept pulling me back in.
Yeah, that is another aspect of Assassin's Creed that has appealed to me, is just the whole setting and history aspect. So it is kind of unfortunate I haven't gotten into the games as much as I have. I do, like I said, I own Syndicate and I own Origins on PS4, so I do plan on going back eventually and playing through those. But we'll see. And another question I have for you is, I know, so they Ubisoft recently released Origins and Odyssey, of course, and from pretty much everyone I've talked to and have heard about, Odyssey and Origins is completely different than the other Assassin's Creed games, and this is due to because when Origins released, it was after Ubisoft took a short break with Assassin's Creed to kind of try and figure things out and revive it to make it different, which is what ended up happening. So, are you more of a fan of like the newer style with Origins and Odyssey, or do you prefer the older gameplay and style of Assassin's Creed?
I definitely prefer the older, like more original stuff where like they did tie in the whole thing with the I can't remember what mythology it is, but they tied in some crazy stuff with it, but while keeping it more tied into the historical storyline, keeping it historically accurate. But a lot of the gameplay I've done in Origins, which I'm only, I'd say maybe a quarter of the way into the story, there's a lot of like whoosh magic type stuff that I'm not really feeling. I definitely saw how they changed over from with like the technological side, and then they switched it all the way over to mythical, magical bullcrap with the newer Assassin's Creeds after Syndicate, once Origins came out. I found it odd, but and then they changed the controls for certain things like horseback riding and wall climbing and everything. And I definitely enjoy up until about Black Flag. Everything past that just kind of lost my attention span.
All right. Well, I'll have to see. I don't have as much of a reference point when I go and play these games, but hopefully I enjoy them enough either way.
Great one to start out with is Assassin's Creed 3, American Revolution. Learn your history about America.
That is one of them that I'm most interested in, is Assassin's Creed 3 because of that. Like, I think it'd be really cool and fascinating just to go through and play it through the American Revolution.
It was a very good game.
Especially now that the remastered version of Assassin's Creed 3 is coming out, I think next month. So it would be a good way to jump into that game for the first time now that it's being remastered. So
Such a good game. Unpopular opinion, Black Flag was not that great. I've never been a fan of the whole naval warfare thing in Assassin's Creed. I think they first had a bit of it in Assassin's Creed 3, which was bearable, but Black Flag was just overbearing when it came to the naval aspect of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I feel like that's something I wouldn't enjoy really either. Do you have I think that's all the questions I have for you and all the comments I have about Assassin's Creed. So, anything else you want to add still?
When are you going to make a Norse mythology Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft? Let me know in the comments below.
You heard it here first.
All right, and yeah, that's about it I got for Assassin's Creed.
All right, so I guess we can go ahead and delve straight into your second choice as one of your favorite game franchises.
My second choice, it's kind of just thrown out there because honestly, I can't really think of any other game franchises that really grabbed my attention and held on to it, other than the Need for Speed franchise, because I've played quite a few Need for Speed games, and they were all just great. And I love driving games because there's nothing more relaxing than throwing on a racing game, putting on your favorite songs, and just driving for however long until you get bored. But I don't really have much input wise when it comes to it. I just find racing games and driving games to be really entertaining. But then again, my attention span's not all that great, so.
Yeah, I haven't played any of the newer Need for Speed games. I know I've played Need for Speed Most Wanted on the PS2, and I know that's a great game. I know in one of our past episodes we talked about this a little bit, but PS2 had some good racing games, and Need for Speed Most Wanted was definitely a really good racing game on the PS2. But it seems like PS2 is kind of the prime for racing games.
Yeah, after PS2, I think Most Wanted 2012, Hot Pursuit, and probably a couple other ones came out for PS3, but were never really big.
Yeah, so I don't really have anything else to add for that either.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can go into my picks then.
All right, Chucky, take it away.
So this first one is. So I'll talk about the lesser of the two, I guess. So switch things up a little bit from what you did. So the lesser one that I chose is Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm talking about the newer Wolfenstein reboot by Machine Games. I didn't play like the the PS3 2009 one or something like that. I know that one's not really like interconnected at all with the newer games. Like, I think he might still play as BJ Blazkowicz. I could be wrong, but I know like you have a whole bunch of random like superpowers and stuff in that game, so it's much different. And I haven't really played any of the old like 3D Wolfenstein or any of those. So when I'm talking about this, I'm keeping it strictly to the newer ones, as in Wolfenstein: The New Order, The Old Blood, and Wolfenstein 2. And so I didn't play the games when they first came out. The first time I played one of the Wolfenstein games, I believe, was, I want to say 2016. And I think The New Order, which is the first one that came out in like 2014, maybe 2015. So I was a little late to the party, and I played it first on Xbox One. And so I got all 1000 gamer score in that game. And then I also played through Wolfenstein: The Old Blood on Xbox One. And then when Wolfenstein 2 was announced, they came out with like a Wolfenstein double pack that included New Order and Old Blood. So I traded in my 2 Xbox versions to get the double pack on PS4. So I played through the New Order and the Old Blood again on PS4, and I got the platinum in both those games. And then I also bought the New Order, the German version, on a German account, and I bought the PS3 version of Wolfenstein: The New Order, and I got the platinum on both of those games. So I got the 1000 gamer score on Xbox One of The New Order, and then I have 3 platinums on The New Order. So I really enjoy that game. And then Old Blood came out afterwards, came out after The New Order, but it's more of a prequel. And I didn't get all 1000 gamer score in the Xbox version because there's some stupid challenges you have to do that I wasn't a fan of. But on the PS4 version, I did do all those to get the platinum. And then I have the German version as well, but I have yet to do it. And then if you've listened to some of our other podcasts, you guys will know that in 2017, Wolfenstein 2 was my game of the year. And I bought that game on release, picked it up at 9 p.m. the night before GameStop. They had a early release type thing like they do nowadays with a whole bunch of newer popular games. And then I went home and played it right away. It up till 3 a.m. that night when I had work the next day. And I made a whole bunch of YouTube videos that have done very well for my YouTube channel. So yeah, I've come to really enjoy the Wolfenstein games. And I just think gameplay, obviously, and the gameplay and like the gunplay is very good, which isn't too surprising because Bethesda does very well with like shooters and their first-person shooting mechanics and stuff. But the story in those games, especially Wolfenstein 2, are all really good. So it's rare nowadays where you have a game that has such great and fluid gameplay and gunplay, as well as such a captivating story that captures you and keeps you invested. So I think Wolfenstein is like the pinnacle and quintessential game that does a great job at integrating both. And the ending cutscene for Wolfenstein 2 is probably my favorite ending cutscene of any game. More specifically, the one with Wyatt, because there are 2 possible endings because there are 2 different timelines that you choose in the first game. Like in the first chapter of the first game, there's a choice you make at the end of the game, or at the end of that chapter in the beginning of the game. And then on Wolfenstein 2, you have a flashback to that scenario, and you get to basically like re-choose, and it keeps one character for that timeline. So there's nothing like majorly different, but some of the cutscenes basically are obviously different in the 2 timelines because there's a different character in each one. But the Wyatt ending specifically of Wolfenstein 2 is my favorite ending cutscene of any game.
So, Wolfenstein is like what I get from like watching some gameplay and like the trailers and stuff. I see that it's, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like post World War II if the Nazis had won.
Yes, that's pretty much exactly it. Basically, alternate, alternate history where the Germans won World War II.
I don't know if you're a reader or not. You would definitely like Man in the High Castle. Just want to put that out there. If you're really big on the Wolfenstein, it's pretty much the same idea. If you're a reader, it's what I'm currently reading, so I'm probably gonna have to get into Wolfenstein then.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I know Greg started playing the second one. I don't know if he played the other two, but I know he was playing the second one. He never really got into it. I'm not exactly sure why, but yeah, I think they're great games, and it's unfortunate because I know like the trophy hunting community is such a small subset of all gamers. But I know like in the trophy / achievement hunting community, I don't think Wolfenstein 2 sold extremely well, mainly just because of that Mein Leben trophy, which is for, if you guys don't know, it's for beating the game on the hardest difficulty, which is very tough, by the way, and it's permadeath. So it's only, you have to play through the entire game on the hardest difficulty with only one life, and if you die, then you have to start back over. There's no saves, no anything. So I know when the trophy list was first announced and released, everyone was complaining about that trophy, and I think a lot of people, from what I was reading, there are quite a few people. Like I said, this is mainly just in the trophy and achievement hunting communities, which is a small subset, so it didn't affect sales too much, really. But there are tons of people that I saw that like had the game pre-ordered and was planning on getting it, but as soon as they saw that Mein Leben trophy, they decided not to get it, or they even canceled their pre-orders, which is very unfortunate.
That sounds like a pain in the ass to complete.
Yeah, it's the only trophy I still need for the platinum. And I know toward the end of 2017, I was going for it, but I just got annoyed with it and decided to take a break and come back to it. I have yet to go back to it, but I am planning on going back at some point. I know the main reason I haven't gone back is there are unskippable cutscenes. And like at the very beginning of the game, there's like a 10-minute unskippable cutscene. So it's annoying to make some progress, you die, and then you have to sit through a 10-minute unskippable cutscene again, and then play like 15, 20 minutes, and then there's another like 5 to 10-minute unskippable cutscene. So it's just really annoying. I mean, I can kind of understand like as a first playthrough making cutscenes unskippable. I mean, I know you should in the first place, but I know if you really want people to watch the cutscenes and understand the story, like that's one thing. But especially with Mein Leben, because you have to beat the game at least once, or you have to beat the game once to unlock Mein Leben. I don't see any point in making cutscenes unskippable in Mein Leben. One, because you already know, the developers already know that since Mein Leben's unlocked, they played through the game once, so they know the story, they know the cutscenes. But then also in Mein Leben, it promotes trying over and over and finding different ways and strategies to make it through. They know that the players are going to die a lot trying to beat this. I don't see why they would keep these cutscenes as unskippable. Yeah, I definitely recommend the Wolfenstein games to anyone listening. If you were thinking about it, they're a great series. Or you, Connor, I know you said you're reading that book and you might want to get into the Wolfenstein games. I definitely recommend it, especially since you can find New Order and Old Blood both for pretty cheap nowadays. You can even get Wolfenstein 2 pretty cheap nowadays. It goes on sale on the PlayStation Store. Like, I think it's even on sale right now with the season pass for $20.
I know one of them are on sale. I'm not sure. I have to check. But yeah, I'd definitely be interested in getting into that.
Yeah, New Order released first, Old Blood released second, but it's a prequel, and then Wolfenstein 2. So I guess it depends whether... I know some people prefer playing games in chronological order, so they would prefer to play Old Blood first and then New Order. And then there are some people who prefer playing release order, so they would play New Order first and then Old Blood. So
I definitely feel like release order would make more sense to play though, because
yeah,
I feel like I'm currently playing Red Dead, and I feel like I'm missing a lot just by not playing the first one.
yeah. Like Greg keeps telling me, he's like, just play the second one already. Like I got the second one for Christmas. He keeps telling me to just go ahead and play it because he's like, it's a prequel, so it doesn't matter. And it's like, well, the first one came out 8 years ago, so I'm pretty sure it's intended to play the first one first. So I'm trying to get through first one first before I go to the second one.
Yeah, because I just finished the mission where you have to save John Marston from some like mountaintop, and they just like took a minute to like zoom in on his face, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? Why is it so long to introduce him? And I was just like, oh, I guess he had something to do with the first one.
Yeah, but yeah, I generally prefer playing release order first because that's obviously how the developers intended you to play it.
Yeah.
But some people prefer chronological order because I feel like, because I played through the New Order first and then I was playing through Old Blood, and like especially toward the end I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense, where I feel like if I played the Old Blood first, it wouldn't really, I would just play through it and it's like, all right, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that like wow factor and wouldn't see how it interconnects right then.
The oh shit factor.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have anything else to add or questions about Wolfenstein?
Not particularly.
All right. So then we'll go into my other one, my favorite game franchise. Which, if you've listened to some of the other podcasts, this will not come as a surprise at all. But my first favorite game franchise is the Splinter Cell series, Splinter Cell games. And so, yes, still waiting for that new Splinter Cell game. But
keep waiting, buddy.
Yeah, there's so many different hints and teases at a new one, especially with like New Dawn. There's a Splinter Cell Easter egg in there, so I'm still hoping. But yeah, 2013 was the last Splinter Cell game. But yeah, Splinter Cell really shaped my interest in the stealth genre. So I originally played the Splinter Cell games back on GameCube when they were first releasing way back in the day. Don't remember exact release dates. I didn't originally play the first Splinter Cell until this past summer, but I started out and I played Splinter Cell Pandora a lot. I think I actually played that one quite a bit on the original Xbox as well, because I think my friend had it who lived down the street. So I think we played it quite a bit then. And then I bought it and played it quite a bit on GameCube, and I played Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, which is the third one. Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow's the second one. So I played a whole bunch of Chaos Theory on GameCube. I remember way back in the day, like my parents would go out for like dinner or something, and my aunt and her boyfriend would come over and babysit. And I remember like I would be in my sister's room because that's where the GameCube was for some reason. But like I'd be in my sister's room with my aunt's boyfriend, and we'd be playing Splinter Cell all night, and it's a great time. And then on the 360, I played Splinter Cell Conviction, Double Agent, and Blacklist. And then on PS3, I replayed Blacklist and got the platinum. And then I bought the Splinter Cell triple pack because that is not on Xbox 360 for some reason. It's only on PS3. But I bought that for PS3. And this past summer, I played through again for the first time on PS3. Splinter Cell, which was my first time actually playing that game, so that was really fun to play. And then Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, and Chaos Theory, and I got those 3 platinums as my 98th through 100th platinums, which I think I mentioned in a different episode. But yeah, so I've been playing the Splinter Cell games for
quite some time,
many years now. Yeah, so really hoping there's a new one sometime soon, because I know, I think it was last year, they had the Splinter Cell crossover with Ghost Recon Wildlands, and they actually brought back Michael Ironside, who's the OG voice actor for Sam Fisher of Splinter Cell. He was not the voice actor in Blacklist because I think he was ill and had health problems, but they brought Michael Ironside back to voice Sam Fisher for this very short crossover event.
By the way, the most badass sounding man to ever walk there.
Oh yeah, he does a phenomenal job.
Nomad, this is Matchwood.
So it's really hard to believe Ubisoft's going to bring back Michael Ironside for this very short Splinter Cell Ghost Recon crossover. Like, it would make sense to do that, and along with all these other small Splinter Cell Easter eggs, but alongside that, recording and developing a new Splinter Cell game. Because I know people, it's like Michael Ironside was like, yes, Sam Fisher's back, and he's back for good. There have been other people from Ubisoft who have said, yeah, Splinter Cell is not dead. We definitely want to keep moving forward with it. Like I said, Far Cry New Dawn has a Splinter Cell Easter egg. I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey also does. So they're adding in these Easter eggs in their new game. So I feel pretty sure that eventually we will get a new Splinter Cell game. It's just a matter of when at this point.
Yeah.
But you haven't played any of them, have you?
I think I played a little bit of Blacklist a couple times in the past. I'm not completely sure, but I think it was either that or a James Bond game.
Yeah, Blacklist is the newest one. And I know Splinter Cell Conviction was weird because that didn't really feel too much like a Splinter Cell game, because obviously Splinter Cell is one of the quintessential games for the stealth genre, but there was practically no stealth in Conviction. It was all up close and personal, hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that. So it was still a good game, but it just felt a little off in terms of being a Splinter Cell game. But Blacklist went back kind of like to the roots, the stealth. But yeah, no, Splinter Cell is one of the quintessential stealth games. It's made me really enjoy the stealth genre like I do now. It really brought me into the style of games.
It brought him into the light. He'll never go back.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Splinter Cell. I don't want to keep going on and on, but if you like the stealth games, or you're thinking about trying to get into stealth games and want a good one to play, then highly recommend the Splinter Cell games. I know, like I've mentioned, I guess it's a little bit harder now because everything Splinter Cell is at the newest on PS3, and there's no new one on current gen consoles. So it might be a little bit tough, but if you have access to a PS3 or Xbox 360 or an older system, then you want a good stealth game, then it's my recommendation. But so I guess a couple runner-ups I thought about as well. Well, I guess not. Yeah, I guess runner-ups. I wasn't really debating my top two, but if we were to go for a third, a couple I was debating with would be the Guitar Hero games, just because those are a lot of fun. And I've played a lot of Guitar Hero over the years and all the different ones.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And then also, I can't really say it's a favorite franchise because I just recently have gotten into it, but the Resident Evil games, I've started getting into more. My first Resident Evil game was actually Resident Evil 7, and I loved that game. And then I played Resident Evil 5, was not a big fan of that. And then I played Resident Evil 1 and 2 Remake and really enjoyed both of those. And Resident Evil 2 is my current game of the year. So it didn't really seem fair to kind of put that in the conversation as a favorite game franchise just because, well, I guess I can't really say that because Wolfenstein's also fairly new. But those are just a couple runner-ups I had thought of.
I'd definitely say if I had to pick a runner-up, I'd definitely go with Battlefield Bad Company 1 and 2.
It's when Battlefield was good, right?
Yeah, really shaped my humor.
I think I played like a couple hours of one of the two back on the 360, but I don't remember. I don't remember anything except for trying to go for a trophy with the fence. That's literally all I remember.
The original Battlefield Bad Company, funny as shit. I don't know what the grammatical term is, but when you go boom and the walls fall down, that was like the coolest shit to me. When I was playing that, I was like, holy crap, this grenade actually blows a hole in the wall. It was like Siege before Siege was a thing that was blowing holes in walls and shooting people through them.
So it was kind of like ahead of its time, almost.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. Like I said, I think I played one of the two for a couple hours, and literally the only thing I remember is walking alongside a fence trying to get a trophy. Or an achievement, because it was on 360.
Yeah, I think that would be my runner-up. I can't really think of anything else except for maybe every Lego game ever. Lego Star Wars. You were my dad.
I've only played a few Lego games over the years. They can be pretty fun. But, so, if that's everything, then I guess we can go ahead and wrap up this episode. Connor, where can they find you on YouTube?
Mostly Siege Cancer. The picture is a guy pointing at a whiteboard saying, "Look at this faggot." I have no subs, no vids. That's how you know it's me.
All right, let's help build his channel. And then you can find me on Twitter at Piezilla Gaming. You can also find me on YouTube at Piezilla Gaming. And you can follow the official Twitter page for this podcast at Project Platinum Podcast, and the handle is at the PP_podcast. So until next week, guys, Piezilla out.